This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Larry Proetti, Nick Proetti. As announcer guy just said, we want to tell you that our program is being brought to you by some wonderful folks. First off, we want to thank Joe Mondello and the great staff, including his family, over at Mondello's Pizzeria, 778-6068 for takeout. Or you can go to the convenient takeout window right there at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Paisan cuisine at its best 7 days a week. They open beginning 11 o'clock Monday through Saturday, 12 noon on Sundays. Mondello's Pizzeria, 778-6068. First Year Bank's right across the street. They're open Monday through Friday. And again, banking the old-fashioned way, customer service first and foremost. And again, right now, you can check out their CD rates with pretty good maturities. Even though the rates are low, you still can get a good bargain over at First Year Bank, 632-3500. Lennox Auto Body over at 1020 Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over at 617 East Pershing Boulevard, both part of Lennox Enterprises, again, serving our community for over a quarter century. And the nice thing about Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center, all work done in-house. They don't have to farm it out, and they don't work underneath a tent. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center, hey, their reputation speaks for themselves. 634-6608, have it come back to you almost showroom new. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. I want to thank my good friend upstairs, Lynette. She listens to both our AM/FM, and she went over there and got herself a new dryer today. Well, thank you so much, Rick. Bruce and the crew greatly appreciate that. And again, you can see B&B Appliance, your home for Frigidaire, Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, and you can get a hold of them at 638-6468. Got a great selection of televisions and a service department to make sure they service what they sell. B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue, again, serving our community for about 54 years. Medicare Pharmacy. For all your pharmaceutical needs, Gene Barber and the great staff over there invite you to come on in. And with your doctor's prescription, they will fill said medications, explain those medications to you. And, oh, by the way, they are practicing social distancing. So, again, come on in or use the convenient drive-thru. Medicare Pharmacy, Bluegrass Circle, right next door to Texas Roadhouse. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Delrange, across from Powers Field and Menard, serving up 3 delicious squares Monday through Saturday. Breakfast served from 7 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Come on by for a delicious breakfast. Again, you're home for the real chicken sandwich taste. That's Chick-fil-A. Oh, by the way, their peach milkshakes, still in play until September 12th. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Delrange, right across from Powers Field and Menards. Platte Valley Bank, 2 banking locations for you. The original location on Vanda High, and, of course, the east side location, the corner of College and Pershing. Again, with all of the banking services you come to expect from Platte Valley Bank and even more. Talk with Rick and the great staff today. Interest rates are at all-time lows. Hey, it's time to refi. Give them a call, 778-0021. I want to thank Key of Cheyenne. Just got off the phone with my good friend AJ as we were talking about, again, brief chat. Just wanted to let everybody know that you can still do your bidding online. Hey, if you feel it incumbent that you need to stay away from the public, well, that's okay. Key of Cheyenne invites you to go online, keyofcheyenne.com, and do your buying and leasing that way. They'll come up with all kinds of plans for you. Matter of fact, they'll even do your trade-in sight unseen by going to Key of Cheyenne. And again, if you want to go on a lot like me, well, remember, they're sanitizing hourly at Key of Cheyenne. You want to get behind the wheel of a Forte, Sorrento, Soul, or the all-new Seltos for 2021. Talk to my good friends at Key of Cheyenne, 775-0123. Family-owned, family-operated. And our scoreboard this afternoon. I'm still in morning mode. This afternoon, it's being brought to you by our friends at Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, remember, use the Taco John's app for delivery or go to the 5 convenient drive-thrus. You can visit Taco John's right there on the South Greeley Highway, downtown KRAE Avenue, Yellowstone Road, down the road from us, east of us, as a matter of fact, Delrange and Ridge, or southeast to Pershing and Ridge for your 5 convenient locations at Taco John's. Here's the scoreboard, and Nick.
Just want to remind folks, coming up this Friday, it will be week 1, but game number 2 of the Class 4A regular season, as we will be in town once again. We'll be over at Cheyenne East Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex, as it will be Cheyenne East taking on Natrona County, the Mustangs. Both teams are coming off of big-time losses. Natrona County, as we had, again, lost at home against Cheyenne Central. Cheyenne East losing on the road at Thunder Basin. We'll talk more about that. But again, both teams looking for their first win here in 2020. Pre-game show on 1480 KRAE will be around 6:15. Kickoff is 7 o'clock. This is the only 7 o'clock game happening this Friday in Class 4A, by the way. So looking forward to it. 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRAE.com is where you can hear the contest. And video live streaming as we do, completely free. Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wiles Sports and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. NHL action for tonight, only 2 games on the slate. 5 o'clock on NBC Sports Network in Toronto. The Boston Bruins will take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, where the Lightning do lead that series 3-1. And at 7:45 on NBC Sports Network in Edmonton, Alberta, it will be the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Dallas Stars, where the Stars lead that series 3-1. So that's what's happening in NHL action for tonight.
Major League Baseball got one final in already. Marlins have defeated the Mets for a Monday afternoon tilt. This is the makeup from August 27th, and it was the Marlins defeating the Mets 5-3. Bottom of the 9th inning between the Orioles and the Blue Jays in Buffalo, New York, and they are knotted up at 2 apiece. Bottom of the 3rd inning in SoCal, Mariners and the Halos are tied at 1-1. 4 o'clock games at 4:30, only one of them at Great American Ballpark, Cincinnati hosting the St. Louis Cardinals. In the 5 o'clock hour, the Tampa Bay Rays will be at Yankee Stadium to take on the Pinstripers. Nats and the Phillies at Citizens Bank Ballpark at 5:05, 5:30. Braves, Red Sox at Fenway. Pirates, Brewers at Miller Park. 6 o'clock games. We'll have the Indians at the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. White Sox on the road. This is a big series right here between the Twins and the Pale Hose. That will be at Target Field with the White Sox holding on to a 1.5 lead over Minnesota. And the 7:30 game will be at Coors Field. 7:30, usually 6:30 for the Rocks, or 6:40.
Again, they're on prime time. They're on ESPN tonight.
So it'll be the Padres and the Rockies at Coors. Right now, 75 degrees in Lodo. We move over to the National Butthead Association.
I want to mention also, too, again, Astros, A's ran into COVID
Yeah,
issues.
that was canceled yesterday, but there's nothing even on the slate here.
Yeah, so don't anticipate them anytime soon.
Let's go to the schedule for the National Butthead Association. Bucks will take on the Miami Heat. This is game 1 of this Eastern Conference semifinals. And in the West, first round, Houston leads this series 3-2. They will match up again with the Rockets. Both games will be played at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Our scoreboard, brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne.
Taco John's presents the most satisfying burrito ever. Challenge. We challenge you to find a burrito as big on flavor as the new Boss Burrito or Bowl, with over a pound of grilled chicken and cilantro lime rice. And we also challenge you to find it for less than $6. Go ahead. We'll wait. The new $6 Boss Burrito or Bowl from Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better. Download the Taco John's app today for even more exclusive deals. Crunching.
Did you know that in rural areas of Laramie County, electricity is reliable and affordable because of High West Energy? Based in Pine Bluffs, High West Energy is an electric co-op owned by the 10,000 customers we serve, and that includes F.U. Warren Air Force Base and 20 subdivisions around Cheyenne. For more than 75 years, High West has been proud to play a part in the steady growth and economic development of this region, while also contributing to local nonprofits, charities, and civic organizations. The action is fast, unexpected, and can come with awesome results at Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza and inside at the Outlaw Saloon. Check out all the action today from the nation's racetracks with pari-mutuel wagering as it unfolds, or with our many different games on our machines. Remember, we are sanitizing our machines all the time for your safety according to state health guidelines. Make sure you get your Wyoming Downs Players Card, which makes you eligible for special events, promotions, and giveaways. The fun and excitement is happening every day at Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza and on the South Greeley Highway. For more information, go to widowns.com.
You get everything you want with the new 2020 Kia Forte. AJ Miller here for Kia of Cheyenne. And this sport compact sedan has advanced technology, sleek styling, awesome connectivity, and plenty of space for passengers. The new GT line provides an available 201 horsepower turbocharged engine for responsive acceleration, quick shifting, and even more fun at the wheel. See the Forte today at Kia of Cheyenne. Call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
To be a member of this great community and will always support all of our high school athletes. First Tier Bank takes great pride in sponsoring the live broadcast of the games and would like to wish all of our teams good luck. We share the credo with Newt Rockney when he said, "One man practicing sportsmanship is far better than 100 teaching it." It's all about the high school sports at First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, Cheyenne.
B&B Appliance and TV has been your locally owned appliance store. Not only do we offer several major brands, we also service what we sell. And we have the largest parts department in Laramie County. Next time you're in a big box store, just ask to see their parts and service department. Then come visit the appliance experts at B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue. Best brands, hometown service.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny, a little bit cooler and breezy. Expected daytime high near 69 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms cropping up this afternoon. For tonight, a pretty good chance for showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, mostly cloudy or low down to 47 degrees. Tomorrow, Tuesday, sunshine. Expected daytime high near 76. Clear sky for Tuesday night with a low down to 47. Sunny on Wednesday. We're calling for a daytime high near 86 degrees.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
On Wyoming Sports Talk today for Monday afternoon after a weekend of high school football. And that's it. No colleges.
There was college, yeah.
Well,
again, there was FCS football on
but
ESPN.
you know, I'm more of the likes of Wyoming or Mountain West action. It was
next week. I think at least Sun Belt and I think Conference USA will get underway this weekend.
There'll be a few.
The Power
games.
5 gets underway 2 weeks from now. Like for the likes of Oklahoma, again the Big 12. I know they have at least one game scheduled against those conference games. So college football, again, it's coming in forms, but what we saw this past weekend was just FCS level football. So.
Yeah, but like I said, no cowboy football. You did make a good point before we got on the air, and again, and I'm glad you're keeping up on this stuff.
What?
From the CDC.
Well, I've given up on all that, but again, it just trickles in on the Twitter feed or social media. But again, not knowing where exactly you're going to go with this or tie it into.
No, again, we have pulled the plug, and I'm talking nationally. We have pulled the plug on fall sports because of the fear of COVID-19, right?
Relatively.
But the CDC came out today and said the COVID-19 deaths.
Well, it came out recently, not today, but
okay. But the point is, the CDC said deaths from COVID-19
caused by the virus
have been way less than the actual death toll for
the estimate
2020.
Of 180,000. They came out and said out of that 180,000 of what they've seen or tested, 6% of it, so that equates to about 11,000 have died due to the virus. So. It is still an unfortunate thing. It's still a unknown thing, as it seems like, again, as we're now finding out this information, as we're now heading into September, where March was the peak of everything, or at least this was the start of the height. We're now looking at here we are 6 months away, half a year, where we now understand that, hey, of the numbers that we've tabulated, that actually it was this real percentage that is
Right.
actually the cause. So again, it's still an unknown thing, and what we're seeing and what we saw this past Friday up in Casper Natrona, and we'll see it this Friday at Cheyenne East and throughout the entire, at least regular season for Class 4A football, or at least high school football in general here in the state of Wyoming. Again, you're just erring on the side of caution.
The social distancing, yeah.
Again, with the masks and everything and limiting numbers, again, it's just erring on the side of caution because, again, we don't have the 100% facts about this thing. So, again, in order to keep everyone relatively healthy and avoid kind of that negativity, or at least that potential 6% as it is right now by the CDC, it makes, again, in my mind as of right now, it makes sense of what you're doing. I have no issue with it.
No, they did a great job.
It's not going to be a forever thing. It's just a temporary thing. And again, at least here in the state of Wyoming, we've been unaffected, pretty, at least compared to the rest of the country, rest of the world, where again we have high school football. You go down, as we've alluded to, again, you go 10 miles or at least down south here to the city of Cheyenne to the border of the state of Colorado. They got nothing going on right now.
No.
You're seeing Colorado media come up to the state of Wyoming right now to cover these games. That's how desperate they are right now. Again, they have nothing going on.
Well, and again, going back to where we were based at Casper Natrona this past Friday night, there was a game prior to our game. I think it was the Glen Rock Herders and the junior varsity of Casper Natrona.
Just a simple scrimmage,
but bottom line was they had fans there from Glen Rock, and they also had fans from Casper Natrona.
Yeah.
And they shuffled everybody out of the facility and went through and sprayed down, disinfected the stands. I thought they did a really good job over there. Our fans across the way, social distanced as well. So again,
for the most part, yeah. Again, there was no issues, and other than that, though, it was not a full house. Probably. Again, without looking at the actual numbers or at least counting the exact heads, you were probably pushing that 1,000 max mark outside, but I don't think there were that 1,000 in attendance there. But again, you had it felt like a normal football game per se. Again, you had the band out there, you had the artillery cannon to fire off for Natrona County as they do up there. Student section was there again, albeit it was limited, but they did have a cheering section. And again, you saw fans representing both Natrona County and Cheyenne Central there at that stadium. So, all in all, it felt like a relatively normal Friday night. Again, you had national anthem, you had all the pageantry, you had everything for this past Friday. So we'll see how it goes forward. Again, today is the first day of school where, again, those attending into high schools across the entire state, again, junior highs, elementaries, schools just in general here in the state of Wyoming. So interested to see how this carries forward or what's going to be the change, if any at all, here in the state of Wyoming and how it affects the regular season. But as of right now, we got one game on our belt, anticipating to have game number 2 coming up this Friday in the
future. Which will be week 1 this week.
Yeah, week 1, but game number 2 in the regular season. So, but looking back to this past Friday, across Class 4A, again, we'll highlight Class 4A because Class 3A, Class 2A were pretty much scrimmages or at least out-of-state opponents. For Class 4A, the biggest surprise, I would say the biggest surprise was Cheyenne East losing on the road to Thunder Basin up there in Gillette.
No, I disagree.
I think so.
I disagree. We've been to Thunder Basin. That is a tough house to win in. I think the closeness of that game.
Thunder Basin, I say it because the fact that Thunder Basin lost a lot of talent out there. Granted, they're showing that they reloaded this season.
Again, with Trent Pakula now in his 3rd season, he had these kids as sophomores. And again, the quarterback behind Hamilton, who I thought is a better quarterback, he's now their main guy.
Yeah.
So I think this is a team that we better not turn our back on. They're pretty doggone good, especially at home.
Again,
East didn't play bad.
It was at home, and again, you can catch anyone off guard. Again, any given Friday night. So Thunder Basin, you got it done against a very talented Cheyenne East team. Again, there wasn't really any surprising per se games. again, Thunder Basin can get it done at home. Yeah, you got to respect them for that. Again, that number in front of them as number 5 in the preseason polls shows that they needed a little bit more respect. But for Cheyenne East, again, you took a tough one on the road. Nothing to hang your hat. You hung tough with Thunder Basin, where it was a tie game for the most part, and Thunder Basin found a way to close it out there in the fourth.
This is a good series between Thunder Basin and Cheyenne East. And again, last year Thunder Basin snuck one out of the Oakview Blanchard Sports Complex. These two teams, when they go head to head, it's like wait till the final whistle before this thing's all said and done.
And this easily could be a rematch in the playoffs. I could see first round, second round, who knows, to be determined at this point in time.
And
all indications. Again, Thunder Basin and Cheyenne East, it almost seems like it is a recurring thing now of those two teams meeting in the playoffs.
Well, again, losing in week 1 is not all that bad.
Week 0.
Or, losing the first game of the season is not all that bad. And, again, losing on the road, it's expected most of the time when you lose on the road.
Especially those long road trips,
And Central snuck away with the win on Friday night. So, again,
I wouldn't say snuck away.
Well, but they went up to Casper Natrona, and we know that a lot of big things are expected from Cheyenne Central.
I think they proved it, but Cheyenne Central got very fortunate, got very lucky in that game, and also, too, showed, I think this past Friday, the game that we saw up there in Natrona County that we broadcasted, Natrona County has issues. It's not a team that I would say that is going to be in that state title hunt.
I think they're good. I disagree with
I don't know. Again,
I think Taubert tried to, and I said this to you too, I think Taubert, their quarterback, Harrison Taubert, tried to put too much weight on his shoulders.
Yeah.
He tried to be the
I think
one-man
both quarterbacks
show.
did in that contest. Again, same with Cummins at this point where, neither quarterback really shined that night. Again, it was pretty much the only aspect from this past Friday, and I'm not going to spotlight a player, but more so Cheyenne Central's defense was what kind of was a shining bright spot out of both, at least the 4 entities out there on the field.
They needed to make that big stop. And they did when they were down 21-14. Yeah. And remember, I said it in the broadcast. I said, if they don't stop them, stick a fork in them. They're done.
Central, what we saw this past Friday, if Cummins can get comfortable and adjusted to the new, at least, system with Cheyenne Central, and will he have a repeat coming up this week as what we saw this past Friday night? I don't anticipate it. If he can fine-tune and get to that kind of Dawson McCleary level and figure out get to that high-end level, or at least we'll say, hey, he gets to that Braden Buell level of a quarterback here in the state of Wyoming in Class 4A, Cheyenne Central proved this past Friday night they're a very scary team. That Central has a legitimate shot of winning the state championship.
Well, and
I think they proved that game 1 this past Friday night on the road against a very talented Natrona County team that surged in the second half. Well, I alluded to that in halftime, where you got to watch out for this Mustangs team that finds a way to pick up the pieces in the second half and shock teams.
They're never a dead outfit. They're going to be back at you.
Central was, even as they were ailing in the third quarter, it was gut check time in the fourth quarter. You talk about that crucial, and I pointed that out, the crucial 3-and-out that led to Central at least tying up the ball game, coming back, and then eventually winning that game. Central, if the defense is pretty solid, if the offense can get going, and again, I'll spotlight Cummins, where if he avoids what we saw this past Friday night, again, with 4 INTs, where we had about five in a row between Talbert and Cummins,
right.
Where it was not a pretty night for the QB situation for Natrona or Cheyenne Central. But for Central's sake and for Coach Mike Apodaca, hopefully we will talk to him as well too. We're set to have him on the show, and again, send him a couple of reminders. But if Central can get that piece kind of solidified on the offense, where you got a lot of talent, and we saw some of those pieces spotlighted with Talich, with Johnson. Again, Labados, we know, is pretty consistent, very solid out there. This is a very scary team that's going to compete and could take care of business against Sheridan. Could take care of business against Thunder Basin. Could take care of business against Rock Springs. This is also to a team as they develop it and go through the regular season and get prepared for the playoffs. And I'll say at this point in time, Cheyenne Central is a guaranteed playoff team. depending upon where their seating is. But I think the Central High Indians from this past Friday, even though it's a one-game stint, proved a lot to me that this team is a legitimate title contender.
Oh, yeah. And again, what happened on Friday night, again, Central comes up to Casper Natrona, similar to the basketball team. There is a lot expected out of the Cheyenne Central Indians. A lot. After you're bringing back 10 starters.
Out of the 3 high schools, though, here in town, East, I think, has probably the bigger target due to the fact that they are the consistency team, or again, as we talk about, they're the team that reloads year in and year out and is always at the top of the heap in Class 4A. East, I think, is got a bigger target on their back than what Cheyenne Central does, but Central absolutely does have a target. They're going to be spotlighted, especially after what they did this past Friday night to make a statement win on the road against Natrona County. All eyes, or at least more and more eyes, are going to look at what's happening with Mike Apodaca's crew, seeing what they can do throughout the season. But I agree and disagree at the same time, where I think East right now is more on the minds and thoughts throughout the entire state than Central is as of right now, due to the fact that what Coach Goff can do with this team, how threatening that team is, how consistent that team is to be one of the top-tier teams.
See, and again, we will disagree, because even talking with Coach Harshman, and we'll have Coach Harshman again this week, stopping Central is one thing, okay? You got to stop Lobatos behind a veteran offensive line. Then you got to shut down the pass game. You've got the Storbo twins.
Yeah.
You've got Johnson, who made a marvelous catch, one of the best catches I ever saw in my life, and Talich. And Talich showed his prowess on defense. Yeah. But again, you got 4 guys.
But again, the passing game this past Friday for Central was not the key reason why Central won.
Andrew Cummins, welcome to Class 4A football.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least here in the state of Wyoming.
And again, he's not the biggest quarterback.
No.
I think he rushed a couple of the 2 interceptions for sure.
I think
threw, there was nobody around for Central.
That was almost, he just tossed up, or at least kind of misread where his wide receivers were going on a couple routes there. But there were many a time that line collapsed around him, that pocket protection collapsed where he was kind of flushed out. It always seemed when he was driving to his right-hand side, that's where, when he had the pressure on him, that's where those INTs kind of came for him. But Cummins, it felt like there were stints, and we saw, not even with the INTs, but many a time it looked like he was taking his eye off the ball on the snap, or he was looking to see, at least reading the defense, or again, that ball was snapped to him, it was fumbled, or at least it was a low snap, and he just kind of didn't get hands on it. I think what you saw was just more butterflies, or at least that giddiness to get out there and get playing. Mm-hmm. Where, again, for Cummins at this point in time for Cheyenne Central, who knows how long it's been for athletic activity for him. And I talked about it on at least in Friday's game, at least whether it was pregame or postgame or even during halftime. You got to wonder where some of these athletes didn't play American Legion baseball. They might have not had competitive activities this summertime to at least get that feel for it. There might be athletes on that field that have not played a competitive sport in quite some time due to the fact of the shutdown back in March. And if that's so, you're talking players that have not been in a competitive action, or at least have not seen that for quite some time, for about 5 months. That could also to affect that psyche or affect that kind of play style, so to speak, where you're not used to it, and it's been a long time.
Yeah, no, they also had an extra week of practice this year too. So
practice is practice. Again, game time is different.
Yeah, but you also, for those that weren't playing baseball or any other summer activity, they were working out for football. We had Coach Apodaca, and he was talking about.
Okay, so you're skating over the fact, or you're skirting over the fact.
I'm not skirting over anything.
Practice and weightlifting is different than facing against an opponent that you don't know what's going to do or what their talent level is, and you got to anticipate, you got to analyze what's going on that football field.
Here's what the defense did for Casper Natrona that Andrew Cummins was not aware of. All right, Cummins did not adjust as the defense did. The defense saw those first 2 drives where Central basically blew them out of the water.
Yeah.
Well, again, Steve Harshman, and he's got a hell of a coaching crew too. Well, they made adjustments right there on the fly before they even went into halftime. So Cummins did not see those adjustments. Again, 2 of those picks he had, there wasn't a white shirt around. He just threw it into he threw it into a naked area.
I think it was more so just misread, or at least probably just didn't understand the route pattern, or at least anticipated that the wide receivers were going to cut in at that point in time. But also, too, some of those INTs, as I talked about, again, he was rushed out of the pocket on the move and just kind of tossed it up, at least probably anticipating to just dump it into just, empty ground.
But also, too, in the Mike Apodaca offense, your quarterback booting or rolling either left or right, that's part of the package.
Yeah.
So, again,
he didn't seem comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't seem comfortable. He's got a good stable up front there that was keeping the pressure off. You got your back in Lobatos, who's going to definitely make sure nobody gets through.
Yeah.
And I just think it was more of rushing. Could have been a case of butterflies. Don't know. There's so many intangibles involved. But the one thing that he did do after that 4th interception, he did take over as a field general and marched him down.
And kudos to Mike Apodaca, where I thought
probably
after
calmed him down.
Well, yeah, but after the 4th INT, I brought up the fact, or at least the inquiry of, would they go to Feaser? Would they take out Cummins at that point and go to a backup due to the fact of that, hey, Friday night was not his night and he was having struggles out there, and hey, we need to find a way to win this football game. But you give credit to Mike Apodaca sticking with the guy. And it proved in the end that, at least as you're alluding to, he took over. He got comfortable some way, shape, or how, and led that Central High team to a victory.
And understand this, Feaser's not the backup. Talich is. So Feaser's the number 3 quarterback. So I guess that would be our question to Coach Apodaca. Was there a thought process of moving Talich? Because if I think when he sits down as a receiver, he is replaced by Alexander Jarash, who is a junior. So, and again, Talich is also a junior too. Talich and Cummins had a battle at that quarterback spot throughout the summer.
Yeah.
And Cummins, basically because of being a senior more than anything. I think he was 1 grade higher than Talich. I guarantee it, Talich will be your starting quarterback next season.
Yeah, you would assume. Again, we're not going to put him in that position, but you would assume, especially where he's at on the depth chart now, unless they find some other transfer or find someone else that can kind of take over that role to at least keep Talich on that wide receiver position that he does so well out there for Cheyenne Central as of right now. But it was interesting to see that, where I was anticipating a QB change after the 4th INT for Cheyenne Central. But again, you saw it come and stepped up for the Cheyenne Central Indians. It eventually got the victory, the 14-point victory over Natrona County, 35-21. So Central, as of right now, is your lone Cheyenne team that is 1-0 on the season.
Well, and again, you look at this offense, and we'll get into the defense too. And again, that secondary, you got to tip your cap to. Not the Talich 2 interceptions and 1 for a pick 6, but think about that. The Douglas kid up there at Casper Natrona. This kid can fly. He can flat out fly.
Yeah, he's got speed.
And that secondary had their hands full, but yet they only let him catch the ball 1 time. He only had 1 reception in that game.
He had 1 reception, but also 2 on a run. He did have a few kind of breakaways where defense collapsed.
He fumbled that 1.
Well, I'm not even getting to that point, but eventually was going to. But again, he did have a few runs that he did break away and get some spacing against Central that eventually caught up with him. But there was the 1 run attempt, or at least pitch play to him out to the left, where he was by himself, had plenty of green spacing in front of him on that turf out there in Casper, where just didn't have a handle on that ball, tried to one-hand it for whatever reason, and then slipped out, and then Central, next thing you know, it was Central High, at least football.
Well, you look at, going back to the Indians again, this Andrew Cummins, the quarterback, who wears number 3, he probably saw it, obviously, live and up close and personal this past Friday night. he's got weapons. He's got everybody. Again, let's go in the backfield. Carter Lobatos, your workhorse. He takes it to another level when he steps onto the field. Andrew Johnson catches the ball, fly sweep. He's a speedster.
As much as Johnson's going to be highlighted, he's going to be overprotected this season due to the fact that he's been hyped up as a potential All-American. He's got talent. So how many times is Johnson's name going to be called out, or at least he's going to be targeted? Well, to be determined, because
Chance Hoffmiller was the same way last year.
He's the biggest weapon, though.
I know, but last year Chance Hoffmiller was the same thing. Everywhere he went, he drew a crowd. Okay, so you can't do this. You can't just specifically put two guys on Johnson, or put your best guy on him, because you know what? You're going to leave Brady Storbo, and you're going to leave Brock Storbo wide open. And then
if those two are on the field at the same time.
And again, too, the guy showed us he's got good hands, too. It's Talich.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Cummins has –
to go back about 20 minutes in this conversation where I said with Cheyenne Central, defense proved that they are pretty solid right now. The Indians' offense had issues this past Friday. It was not the reason why they won that contest. But if they can solidify it again to spotlight Cummins, not to put full pressure on the guy, but – if he can solidify, and also too, you get a few healthy bodies back on that line that were missing. I do believe at least Miller was out for Cheyenne Central. Again, you get some healthy bodies on that line. If everything goes to what Mike Apodaca's playbook, or at least what he's anticipating for his team, goes 100%. This is a very scary, very deadly Central High team that can. What we saw this past Friday. It's a team that could be their own worst enemy. That's how they're going to lose a ball game, if they're their own worst enemy.
And their defense is going to give up points, or they may get helped. Opposing teams may get helped by mistakes. But the thing is, you're going to have to outscore Cheyenne Central. Yeah. And guess what? Anytime they touch the football, they're a threat to score. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I mean,
we saw that 2 straight offensive drives out of the gates for Cheyenne Central.
And then the last 2 possessions, and then the INT by Talich.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, again, the passing game is prevalent for Cheyenne Central. That is their big ticket. But when you need grind them up 3, 4, 5 yards a pop, Lobatos is there.
Yeah.
He's one tough cat to bring down. So
I equated it at least to him of what you see in the NFL of.
Frank Gore.
Yeah, Frank Gore, of what how hard-nosed, he just drives at. He's got a powerful, he lowers that head, and he just goes into, he finds spacing. He makes spacing. That's how good Carter Lobatos is. This Central High team, albeit it is one game, and you got a lot more remaining on that schedule. You got to see Sheridan, Thunder Basin, Cheyenne East, Rock Springs still, even with the likes of Kelly Walsh South and Campbell County, Laramie as well. So, again, you still got a lot of games remaining on that schedule for the Indians. This is a team right now, if they solidify on the offense right now is the Achilles heel to an extent. But if they shore it up coming up next week and it becomes a work in progress throughout this entire season, come playoff time, this is a team, not much of, I wouldn't say of destiny, but it's a Central High team that controls their own destiny, that basically their route to that state title, even the title game, but eventually that potential championship coming back to the city of Cheyenne over there at Central High, they have a very good outlook, a very good path that could be the reality here in 2020.
All right, and I'm going to throw this at you, and we need to take a break. You look at Cheyenne Central. Okay, the defensive coordinator for Casper Natrona had to prepare for Cheyenne Central for week 0.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the next defensive coordinator. You're looking at Cheyenne Central film.
Mm.
You want to talk about defensive coordinators having headaches right now? Because, again, you just don't know what Central's going to do. Give it off to Lobatos, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Are they going to go to the Storbo twins? Is Johnson going to be your main? You got to prepare about 5 different types of defense. Do you blitz? And again, do you blitz Cummins?
I think of what you look back, if you're watching game film from week 0 and you see what is the issue with Central or what you would attack is, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'd say blitz. Blitz as often as you can. Go attack Cummins. Get him flustered, because when the guy's flustered or he's anticipating that's coming, And how many times did we see that where he takes his eye off the ball? Again, there's a drop football on the turf, and there it is where, again, they're either losing yardage or an INT. That's the thing right now is you find a way to fluster Cummins, and okay. that's where your ball game's probably at, or at least
in the package to from Mike Apodaca, you got the draw. The draw always beats the blitz.
Yeah.
Your second part is you can flare it out.
Yeah.
And your third option, which they did the other night, was to Brock Storbo. A little fire up. Boom, two-step, boom, you're firing it. And again, Storbos are 6'6". You got big targets to throw to. Johnson's what, 6'3", 6'2"?
Something like that.
Talich is 6'2". You got I'm telling you, this offense is a defensive coordinator's nightmare right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. But what is potential to mess up that offensive plan for Mike Apodaca?
Holding on to the football.
Holding on to the football, but also, it is spotlighting that quarterback there behind the center for Cheyenne Central, where if you get him flustered, you changing packages where you take his eye off the ball or at least get him to flush on out. He's proved that he's mortal, that he has issues right now early on in this season, that he gets flustered, he makes mistakes. And he made not a lot of them, but, again, a good amount this past Friday.
Well, he got game one out of his system.
Yeah.
So I would expect bigger and better things from him coming up in game two. All right, we do need to take a timeout. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back with more Wyoming Sports Talk today after this.
Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range across from Powers Field is a proud sponsor of our high school and LCCC student athletes. Chick-fil-A always offers 2 convenient drive-through lanes to pick up your order if you are on the go. Plus, they have an excellent dining room for the whole family. And remember to order ahead. Use the Chick-fil-A app on your phone. Stop into Chick-fil-A today, open Monday through Saturday, where you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're home for the real chicken sandwich taste. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range.
Do you know what to do if you're stuck on the railroad crossing? Get out of your vehicle. If a train is not approaching, find the blue and white emergency notification system sign on the traffic signs at the crossing. For help, call the number on the sign and give them the crossing number so they know your location and can alert train traffic. Remember, find the blue and white to save your life. For more information, visit oli.org.
Sponsored by the Wyoming Association of Broadcasters, Wyoming Operation Lifesaver, and this station.
If it happens on the diamond, the hardwood, the field, or even the ice, we'll talk about it on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Hi, this is Nick Peretti inviting you to join Larry Peretti and myself each weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. as we, along with our special guests, talk sports locally, regionally, and nationally. And you can chat with us too at 307-514-1071. It's Wyoming Sports Talk today, only on 1480 KRAE, and you can stream live with us at 1480krae.com.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
You can actually get something good for your health at a drive-through window. When you order your next prescription from Medicare Pharmacy, call ahead and use our drive-through window. Or you can call for free delivery. You can even log on to Medicap.com and order a prescription refill. Your Medicare pharmacist will call you to make arrangements for pickup or delivery.
Medicare Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicare Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712. Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. This week's Super Radio buys heard only right here feature Crown Royal Original, Apple, or Vanilla Canadian Whiskey. 750 milliliter bottles, $17.99. Keystone Light or Ice, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $18.99. And Tito's Handmade Vodka, 750 milliliter bottles, $16.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
Do you know what to do if you're stuck on the railroad crossing? Get out of your vehicle. If a train is not approaching, find the blue and white emergency notification system sign on the traffic signs at the crossing. For help, call the number on the sign and give them the crossing number so they know your location and can alert train traffic. Remember, Find the blue and white to save your life. For more information, visit oli.org.
Sponsored by the Wyoming Association of Broadcasters, Wyoming Operation Lifesaver, and this station.
Security is just a slide away. We are excited to announce that Card Valet is here. Card Valet is a simple, secure, and convenient way to control your Platte Valley Bank debit card. You can turn your card on or off with a swipe, set spending limits, and banking alerts for items you want to know about. Card Valet for Platte Valley Bank launches August 3rd. Download the app and start controlling your debit card. Banking with Platte Valley Bank has never been so simple.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny, a little bit cooler and breezy. Expected daytime high near 69 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms cropping up this afternoon. For tonight, a pretty good chance for showers and thunderstorms, otherwise mostly cloudy, or low down to 47 degrees. Tomorrow, Tuesday, sunshine, expected daytime high near 76. Clear sky for Tuesday night with a low down to 47. Sunny on Wednesday, we're calling for a daytime high near 86 degrees.
Tired of lazy and predictable sports talk radio? We know you are. This is Cheyenne's new sports radio home. It's Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. We pretty much did our own post-game show with Mike Apodaca without Coach Apodaca.
Still trying to reach him. I would have doubted. He's probably busy with school and at least practice at this point. So hopefully,
I do want to mention that.
Hopefully, we'll catch up with him in the 4 o'clock.
Central will be at home. They get Kelly Walsh, and we'll talk about Kelly Walsh in just a moment.
Man.
East will be at home. That'll be our featured game. They get Natrona. So we already had our first look at Natrona. And the South High Fighting Bison also at home. They draw Sheridan.
Yeah, so all three Cheyenne schools on the road this past Friday. All 3 will be back in town. Again, we'll be interested to see how it at least all unfolds this at least upcoming Friday.
Two games this week I would call relatively close. Central defeating Natrona 35-21.
Yeah, and again, that was not a comeback because due to the fact that Well,
it was.
I was going to say because at least Natrona did have the lead there late in the third, and then eventually Central at least comes away with the victory. So, again, also, too, the close one was Thunder Basin Cheyenne East, where that was tied for a good amount of that contest, and then eventually Thunder Basin just found a way to take care of business in the fourth quarter.
The 3 other games, and I told you to watch out for these guys. You did not believe me.
Yeah.
And Rock Springs went to Campbell County and kicked the snot out of the Camels, didn't they?
I had higher expectations for the Camels, but they proved, or at least Rock Springs proved that they're a legitimate outfit, without a doubt. And again, it's against Campbell County. Campbell County is still an X-Factor team where we'll see what they're made of. Again, will this be a Campbell County team that sits near the bottom, or at least is going to be one of those teams on the outside trying to look into the playoffs? Who knows?
They might be your number. They might be your number 8 team.
Who knows right now? Again. We'll see what Rock Springs is going to be made of. They will be at home hosting Thunder Basin coming up in their Week 1 contest. So that'll be interesting to see. Again, the long road trip for Thunder Basin to at least go all the way down to Rock Springs. So that's going to be a good litmus test for this Rock Springs Tigers crew to see what they can do.
All right, so that was one blowout game. Then no surprise that Laramie was going to get beat by Sheridan.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody had Laramie, beating Sheridan.
No.
It was not.
Laramie's going to be one of your dead last teams, or at least it's going to be fighting for that out of playoff contention, at least spot here in Class 4A. That's the unfortunate thing. The Plainsmen, I think they're going to expect the Plainsmen to have a lot of contests like this in Class 4A.
So that's 2. So we're 2-2 right now, and then our third contest.
This was a bit surprising, and
it's disappointing more than anything.
It's disappointing and slightly surprising due to the fact that I thought Cheyenne South would be a little bit more competitive. I thought that they would
at least go toe-to-toe with them.
I honestly thought they had a shot at winning this contest, but it proved that South has a lot of issues again this season. That Casper Kelly Walsh, albeit against South, had to go on the road against this Trojans team. where Kelly Walsh comes away with a 54-14 victory, so 40-point victory for the Trojans of the Cheyenne South. And I think it's going to be another long season where for South and Laramie, when those two meet up, when they meet up in Week 7, that might be the contest for both of them where it decides whoever gets their first victory on the season.
Well, and again, too, with the South High Fighting Bison, defense is their big problem right now. And they can't stop. They could not stop Casper Kelly Walsh.
Defense is their issue, but also too size. Size is a massive
I understand
issue.
that. But again, where your defensive line may be small, your backers have to come up and support. And they must be small too, because, they got beat on an 80-yard run. They also got beat on a 99-yard run.
Yeah.
You had them backed up in their own backyard, and they still came away with it.
Yeah.
So they're getting beat on the ground. That tells you right now, size is probably one of their killers. And then you look at their quarterback, again, Braden Hughes, who's 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah.
And you
again try to see over how whatever his offensive line is kind of.
You're running the full house. You're running the now the offense is going to. You're running the Air Force offense, the flex bone.
All right.
And again. You graduated, two kids last year, and one kid transferred over to Central. You had Cummins back there, Jaden Cummins last year. You had Soto as the fullback, you're up back, and then you had KRAE Wright. Well, you got to replace your whole backfield this year.
Yeah, and so far it is proven where it's not. It's going to be another long season, unfortunately, for Cheyenne South, where Laramie, as much as they lost by 32 on the road at Sheridan. Again, 40 against a Kelly Walsh team that is not anticipated to be all that special here in Class 4A. That, for Cheyenne South, it's another unfortunate long season where the playoffs are not even in the realm of possibility for the Fighting Bison.
If we want to see how good Kelly Walsh is, then they're going we'll see what they're made of this Friday night.
I don't think they'll beat Cheyenne Central. I
don't think they're going to put up a 50 spot either on the Indians.
No. I don't think. I think Central.
I
think Central has. I'm not gonna say an easy time, but I think Central comes away with a comfortable victory coming up this Friday against Casper Kelly Walsh. In my opinion, I don't think the Trojans are all that impressive. That 40 spot again goes against a very young, a very undersized South team that has been the kind of consistent theme year in and year out. Albeit again for me here for 3 years. It seems like that has been the MO of Cheyenne South football, where, again, they're undersized, they're underage, and when they step on that gridiron, it's pretty much, hey, expect that you're either you're going to have a running clock situation, or you're not going to be even relatively close in these contests.
And
that's
unfortunate.
South, that's unfortunate.
And for South, they don't want this. This is what hurts the program.
And this again for Cheyenne South, where this start against Kelly Walsh, that is not a powerhouse team in Class 4A.
Mediocre, in our opinion.
But to lose by 40 against this team, against Casper Kelly Walsh on the road for Cheyenne South, it brings up now an even more important question over there at South High, where as much as, again, respect the hell out of Dad Gals. Appreciate every time that he's come into the studio and for everything that he's done for us on our broadcast and everything. But you wonder for Mark Poev, at least athletic administrators over there at Cheyenne South, when is it time? Where we talk about numbers, we talk about getting student athletes involved, or at least getting students involved with athletics to get them enthused. This is not doing it over at Cheyenne South. I think, if anything, this is deterring folks to go out for football. Again, we'll look back to last year where you had number issues for your freshman teams, sophomore teams, JV. You had to cancel games last year due to the fact that you had lack of numbers.
Right.
Whether it was those numbers had to move up to the varsity squad because you had injuries up there, or you just didn't have those coming over from Johnson all that interesting. And the surprising fact as well, too, again, even going back to my days, or at least being in school here in the city of Cheyenne, especially at Johnson Junior High before I went over to Cheyenne East, when there was only two high schools. Again, Johnson was that split-up school. Football back then at Johnson, they were pretty good.
Yeah,
Johnson was kind of was that powerhouse kind of at least football team in the junior high ranks, and it's still like that today. They're still very competitive on the junior high ranks.
So you got they've kind of fallen off a little bit.
Again, they still have talent there that are going across the street to Cheyenne South, or potentially. So what is the change, or what is the difference, or where are we getting lost in translation here between Johnson and Cheyenne South? That are those talented kids just not
yeah, well,
don't
you know,
care about
let's take
anymore?
let's take a look at the South history. And again,
it's not a rich history.
I know, but we mentioned it here earlier before we had the coaches on. You take a look at the history of Cheyenne South, and you go back to last season. How many running clocks did we had? 2 games last year where they had a running clock? East never. Matter of fact, they didn't even stop East on their first 8 drives. Yeah. That's 56 points, Nick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had an early running clock in that one, and that game was at Cheyenne South.
Right. So again,
and again, this game this past Friday was not a running clock situation. If I'm stand to be corrected, I do believe it's 45 points in football to have a running clock. There was no point in time that this Casper Kelly Walsh game was at that 45-point level, or at least margin between Casper Kelly Walsh and Cheyenne South. So it was a blowout, but it wasn't running clock blowout. If I stand correct, I don't think it's at that 40-point like in basketball, but to be determined. But either way, it was still Cheyenne South got their teeth kicked in, which to me was surprising. I expected more out of the South team. I thought they were going to be a little bit more competitive against Casper Kelly Walsh on the road against the Trojans. But now this brings up a more serious topic right now for Cheyenne South in the Fighting Bison, where you now look to leadership out there. And again, it's not so much Mark Poy, but you look at that football program, that's coaching staff right now, it's not getting it done. Where to get these student athletes, and again, respect the hell out of Dan Gallus and what he's teaching over there, where, hey, it's not about winning per se. It's pretty much taking these student athletes and making them into men.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
But also, too, why can't you win as well? Why can't you have your student athletes?
Well, and he's won. He's won in Colorado.
You don't think that Cheyenne Central, Cheyenne East is also, too, focusing on making those teenagers into men, but also, too, finding ways to be victorious, to get those teams into the playoffs? Find a way to get folks at Central and East, or those coming up from McCormick or Cary, to be enthused for football, to get them into that, at least to that rhythm over there at Cheyenne East or Cheyenne Central.
And again, you look at this weekend's game, and right now, if I'm a handicapper and I had the opportunity to go take this to Vegas with me, they got their teeth kicked in at Kelly Walsh. What about the likes of Sheridan? And maybe Sheridan might be the team that we're dismissing this year. They might be a little down.
Possibly.
They might be.
They still came away with a 32-point victory.
But do I believe that Sheridan's better than Kelly Walsh?
And who knows about the Sheridan, at least, final score, where who knows with the Bronx.
When they backed off?
Yeah, when they called out the Dogs, how early that was against Laramie, where that score could have been a little bit more lopsided in favor of Sheridan. So, and I do believe there was a point in time where Laramie had a goose egg, I do believe, for about 3/4 in that contest.
Well, it's, like I said, you look at Sheridan comes to town. They've had running clocks against.
It's not going to be pretty
against South. So yeah, it's going
and
to
it's
be
unfortunate.
It's going to be probably a situation where
if for Cheyenne South, if the reality is that this team cannot move down to Class 3A to compete and get those numbers out there, or at least have competitive seasons for this team as they're trying to build up and get those involved, or at least those enthused out there, and kind of build that winning tradition. If your reality is that you're stuck in Class 4A and you're struggling like this, changes need to come.
Hey, don't listen to us. Go out and support the kids. I'd rather have you go out there and support them. We're just saying what we see.
What I'm saying is in defense of those student athletes at Cheyenne South, that they deserve better, they deserve more, and they deserve a change. Because again, the 3 years I've been here, South has been getting their butts whooped year in and year out, game by game. I think of the 3 seasons that I've seen Cheyenne South football, I've seen 2 victories, I do believe.
Well, and here's the deal.
One was last year against Laramie. The other year was Campbell County.
And again, just so we understand this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think week 2 of the season, we go to Thunder Basin.
Yeah, with Cheyenne South.
Talk about getting ugly early.
Yeah.
At Thunder Basin. Then they get a break, maybe with Campbell County. Maybe Campbell County's not as good as you thought.
You would hope that is going to be a competitive game for Cheyenne South, but right now I don't see it.
Then you roll with Central.
I think for Cheyenne South, your only opportunity, your chance for a victory, it's not even guaranteed.
It's Campbell County.
No, it's not even Campbell County. It's Laramie.
And
that's week 7.
Yeah.
That's the second to last game of the regular season.
And that's at Laramie.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm saying that's not even a guarantee.
But I'm looking at you got Sheridan, you got Thunder Basin. You're going to get your teeth kicked in the next 2 games. Yeah. And Campbell County might be. And last year Campbell County came out and just knocked the snot out of Cheyenne South. Then you got Central East. Forget about it.
And again,
all right,
for Cheyenne South, very quickly on this last point, as we'll get to the top of the hour here, at least in the 4 o'clock hour. But for Cheyenne South, it's not a case of that. It's that participation award, kind of at least award to Cheyenne South, where they let's give them wins without like the hard work or the hard effort. No, it's more so of the Cheyenne South Fighting Bison, this football team, these student athletes deserve more on the fact that they can still lose games, but they need to be a little bit more competitive than what they're seeing in the past couple seasons.
Yeah, and I tip my cap to every one of those youngsters that went out for football and still are playing football.
Casper Kelly lost a mid-tier Class 4 team. You still lost on the road 40 points.
Yeah, but those that have gone out, you tip their cap.
Yeah.
Because they're giving 110% against odds that might be just insurmountable throughout the course of the season.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you're right. Is a change needed? More than likely. Sorry. We got to call them like we see them. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be right back.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
Hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, thank you to all our wonderful sponsors. Mondello's Pizzeria at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons, open Monday through Saturday, beginning at 11 o'clock, Sundays at 12 noon for fine Paisan cuisine. First Tier Bank's right across the street. They're open Monday through Friday. You can get a hold of them at 632-3500, 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Lennox Auto Body, 1020 Dunn Avenue, and the Auto Glass and Detail Center, 617 East Pershing Boulevard, both part of Lennox Enterprises, 634-6608. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Again, Bruce and the crew waiting for you to come on by. 638-6468 if you have any calls. Any questions or concerns, they'll be more than happy to field your call. Medicare Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical needs, open Monday through Friday. Check that Monday through Saturday, as you can go inside where they're social distancing or use their convenient drive-thru. Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Delrange, they're open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. 2 convenient drive-thrus. Don't forget to use the Chick-fil-A mobile app curbside, their curbside mobile app, where it'll be waiting for you when you get there. Platte Valley Bank, 2 banking locations, the east side location, corner of College and Pershing, and then the Vanda High address on the north side. You can come on by and do your banking Monday through Friday, 778-0021. Key of Cheyenne on Nation Way. The 20s need to move so the 21s can come onto the lot. See AJ and the great crew over at Kia Cheyenne, 775-0123, or go online, KiaCheyenne.com. And it's scoreboard time, which is being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. 5 locations for you. First, you can use the Taco John's app for delivery, or visit Taco John's today, South Greeley Highway, downtown KRAE Avenue. Also, you can visit Taco John's on Yellowstone Road, Delrange and Ridge, Pershing Ridge. We go to the scoreboard. Here's Nick.
Want to remind folks, coming up this Friday here on 1480 KRAE, we will have more high school football action. It'll be week 1, but game number 2 of the regular season, as it will be Cheyenne East playing host in Natrona County. Both teams looking for their first win on this season. Looking forward to this contest. Pregame is set for 6:15. Kickoff will be 7 o'clock. It is the lone 7 o'clock contest in Class 4A this week. So again, Natrona County versus Cheyenne East. 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRAE.com is where you can hear the contest. Video live streaming completely free for you folks. And again, thank you to about 3,000 of you combined between Periscope and and our YouTube channel, but Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wild Sports, and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel is where you tune in to watch the upcoming contest coming up this Friday night. So with that being said, NHL action for tonight. 2 games on the slate. 5 o'clock, NBC Sports Network, live from Toronto. It will be the Boston Bruins taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, where the Lightning lead that series 3-1. And last but not least, 7:45 on NBC Sports Network, live from Edmonton, Alberta. It will be the Dallas Stars taking on the Colorado Avalanche. The Stars lead that series 3-1.
Major League Baseball, a couple of finals are in. Mets have defeated the Marlins. This was a makeup from August 27th as the Metropolitans lose to the Marlins 5-3 in 11 innings. Orioles topping the Blue Jays in Buffalo 4-3. They move to the bottom of the 7th inning in SoCal, and the Mariners lead the Halos 2-1. Getting underway here momentarily will be the Cardinals at the Reds. 5 o'clock games. We'll have the Rays at the Yankees, Nats at the Phillies, Braves at the Red Sox. Pirates will take on the Brew Crew at 5:40. 6:05, Indians at the Royals. White Sox at the Twins, and this is the battle for, well, you got 3 teams in the Central Division that are battling out. Indians are 21-13. Sox are 21-13. The Twins are 20-15. Huge series between Minnesota and Chicago beginning tonight. And the late game, which will be on ESPN, it will be the Padres and the Rocks from Coors Field, 78 degrees right now in Lodo. Let's go over to the National Butthead Association, and let's see what we got going on. So far, the Heat and the Bucks will play Game 1 of their Eastern semifinals. The series was supposed to be played a little earlier, but they'll play Game 1 tonight. And it will be the West first round with Houston leading this best-of-7, 3-2, Rockets and the Thunder. Both games to be played at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Taco John's presents the most satisfying burrito ever. Challenge. We challenge you to find a burrito as big on flavor as the new Boss Burrito or Bowl, with over a pound of grilled chicken and cilantro lime rice. And we also challenge you to find it for less than $6. Go ahead. We'll wait. The new $6 Boss Burrito or Bowl from Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better. Download the Taco John's app today for even more exclusive deals. Crunching!
The action is fast, unexpected, and can come with awesome results at Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza and inside at the Outlaw Saloon. Check out all the action today from the nation's racetracks with pari-mutuel wagering as it unfolds, or with our many different games on our machines. Remember, we are sanitizing our machines all the time for your safety according to state health guidelines. Make sure you get your Wyoming Downs Players Card, which makes you eligible for special events, promotions, and giveaways. The fun and excitement is happening every day at Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza and on the South Greeley Highway. For more information, go to widowns.com. The message is simple. Drive sober or get pulled over. If you drink and drive, remember it's illegal and it can cost you your freedom or worse, your life. It's been determined that a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or more can impair you considerably when you are behind the wheel. Financially, it can devastate you if you get arrested. More importantly, it could result in losing a friend or a family member. That price is too high to pay. Call a designated driver after enjoying a night out and get home safe. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds. Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI-FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local. Serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder.
Versatility and value come standard with the new 2021 Kia Seltos. AJ Miller here for Kia of Cheyenne, and this small SUV is made to do more for less money. Seltos comes with impressive standard features and available options like all-wheel drive, turbo power, heated front seats, wireless phone charger, 10-inch touchscreen, or Bose premium sound. Stack up Seltos next to the competition. Come by Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123, or go to kiaofcheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
their clients with clear guidance and committed service to help maintain focus on achieving long-term goals. So whatever happens today, Schwab remains invested in you. Visit schwab.com/Cheyenne to learn how Schwab is ready to help.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny, a little bit cooler and breezy. Expected daytime high near 69 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms cropping up this afternoon. For tonight, a pretty good chance for showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, or low down to 47 degrees. Tomorrow, Tuesday, sunshine. Expected daytime high near 76. Clear sky for Tuesday night with a low down to 47. Sunny on Wednesday. We're calling for a daytime high near 86 degrees.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. I don't know why I keep saying it, but Pepsi, they serve Pepsi products, but Taco John's is our scoreboard sponsor. We're going to bring on the head coach of the Cheyenne Central Indians, Mike Apodaca. Nick and myself having a rather lengthy discussion on the ball game that we covered this past Friday night in Casper. And Coach, thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at there was the highs. You came out right away, and I mean you just ran it right down their throat, and then they came back, and then again your team showed a lot of resolve, which again is a credit to that veteran leadership on your team. But I guess my question is to you, Coach, after Andrew Cummins threw his fourth INT. Was there a thought process, and I know you're heavy into that ball game, was there a thought process of going to the bullpen?
No, honestly, there really never was. I mean, I think there was a combination. You know, the first one, one of our receivers, should have come down with it, and it's tip ball. And, the second one I was pretty frustrated with because it's something we've dealt with in camp, and kind of it reared its ugly head and kind of threw behind himself, which, is kind of a pet peeve of mine. And then, the third one, again, when you throw the football and you're dealing with high school kids, a series before he threw that same ball for a first down. It was a great thing. This time he let a ball inside, and, in that mistake you're going to get beat. And, probably the fourth one was definitely frustrating, and again on him. I mean, that was just a bad throw. Airmailed one of the storeboats. And so, no, I mean, the rally with Andy, I mean, still got to remember, I think he's the right guy at this point right now based off, I think, people that watch the game or whatever saw, how talented and important Nathan Talich is on both sides of the ball. But, in fairness to Andy, he's 3 weeks into the season, into our system, and really a week with the one reps, for 2 weeks they've been splitting. So, wasn't there yet, and I knew that he had a lot of good guys around him, and they all rallied, around him well. And so, never really considered it.
One thing you did mention was Nathaniel Talich, and again, and let's go to the defensive side because, again, the pick six was great by Talich. That was one that we really needed because, again, they only had 98 yards to navigate with about 2 minutes, but you never can count out a Steve Harshman team. And another name that we called, too, especially on the defensive side, Josh Mosley. Again, couple of, a senior and a junior, Talich being the junior. Couple of, and again, your defense as a whole played pretty decent, but a couple names that we call quite often that were around the football a lot.
Again, it goes to Nate Talich first as a teammate. He competed hard for that quarterback spot and really showed well. And ultimately it kind of came down that, if he felt, that he was going to have to split any reps, he'd rather just help the team on both sides of the ball. And it just goes to show you what kind of teammate that kid is. And then, maybe more importantly, what a great athlete he is. And so really proud of just the way he handled it and his effort. And it really showed, sometimes good things come to good people. And I think that was the case with Nate. And then, Josh was a kid that was with us, the first 2 years of our program, and then moved away for a year and is back. And so, we hadn't seen him in a while, but, he's a big, strong kid that's new to that position. He was kind of always a skilled guy, kind of a tight end, fullback, linebacker, and we just felt, he had a need in the way he'd kind of grown into himself that he could do something for us down in the trenches. And, every day he just gets better, and so looking forward to his season.
So, Coach, as we saw this past Friday up there in Casper, Natrona, Oregon, it's a tough place to go up there and win against the Mustangs team. Doesn't matter who's out there on the field for Steve Harshman. Again, it's a tough place to go out there and win. For Cheyenne Central, again, you had the hot start early on in the first quarter, going up by 14 at half, up 14-0. But here we go in the third quarter, as I alluded to. You can't count this team out. They find a way to sneak up on teams and eventually come away with those victories. Here came that Mustangs juggernaut team where they eventually had the 7-point victory, at least lead there about the third quarter. But talk about the fourth quarter for your Central Iowa Indians that come from behind to eventually get the victory on the road. Again, talk about the rallying cry for your team, whether it was offense or defense, and especially that defense that came up with that big 3-and-out stop that eventually led to that eventually offensive output to eventually put the Indians on top. But talk about coming from behind and getting that victory up there in Natrona County.
Well, I think what you saw is the growth in a program. That's probably what's been missing the last 2 years, and primarily maybe last year in particular, where, talent-wise we were getting a lot closer, but we just didn't know how to handle those situations. And I thought you saw the senior leaders kind of take over, kind of like we talked about the Carter Labatases and Joey Kosteleckis and then even Nate Talich and those kids just really kind of bowed their back and kind of weren't going to be denied. And it was really good to see because, the kids, that was the next step in the program's evolution. And, it'd be easy to sit here and if we'd have come out with some way, somehow, just some blowout win, I'm not sure we'd have been a better team, to be quite honest with you. I think we would have got caught into things that we weren't quite there yet. And this really exposed, our where we've got to focus and finish and those sorts of things. So I think in a lot of respects, it's obviously phenomenal to come out with a win in the first thing in the first game, but maybe more importantly is we did it while we handled some adversity. So
for you, Coach, again, we'll move past what happened in Week 0. As for Cheyenne Central, you are 1-0, and again, the only Cheyenne team to come away with a victory this past Friday on the road. But for your Indians, as we talk about, especially looking at the offensive side where you had difficulties, you had struggles, but found a way to get it done and get the victory on the road against a very talented Natrona County team. For you as a head coach, though, where you didn't see your 100% or what you expected out of your Central Iowa Indians this past Friday, but as you develop through the regular season, you got to feel more and more confident that this team has something very special built inside of them on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I thought those first two drives especially, and then obviously the last two, I thought you were able to see what we're capable of. And, in the first couple of drives, I think there was just great energy. The kids were excited to play. I think they understood, the capabilities they had and all those things for the first time. And then, like I said, maybe, I don't know if I'd say it came too easy, but, things clicked so well that I think we lost our focus. On the flip side, in the back end, I thought what you saw, offensively especially, was our ability. We didn't panic, and when, we put it in Carter Labata's hands, and a lot of that was just based off what they were giving us, and that way I think what makes us, a little bit unique this year is that teams really got to decide how they want to defend us. And, if they take guys out of the box, obviously I think we can run it. And if they pack the boxes, and so I think that's what you saw is our kids just really evolving and really excited about what both sides of the ball. But I think you saw a glimmer offensively what this team can be when we can put four quarters together.
Coach, I got to ask you this, and again, you've been in the coaching business. You've also been, a former player, so you can relate to this. I've been calling a lot of games here in Cheyenne for a lot of years. I'm not even going to go how far back, but the catch by Andrew Johnson, the total sellout, and again, where Cummins got the football, and matter of fact, where it allowed Johnson to lay out. That was one of the best catches I've ever seen in all of the years I've called games up here.
It's funny you say that because, like you, I've been doing this a long time, and things start running together a little bit. But I'm right with you that was, you hear all the time, and I don't know that I've ever experienced it, but you hear all the time about people, finding a second gear, and that might have been the first time in my career I really saw a kid find a second gear. And I remember thinking, God, this might be a little long. And, maybe last year, Andrew, kind of goes in that first gear and kind of goes over our head and we move on to the next down. And I think that was the greatest example of this senior leadership and how much this season means to it. I mean, Andrew took it amongst himself to find something different. And like you said, one of the best catches at such a critical time. It was fun to watch, I will say that without a doubt.
That's the kind of catch that gets you to the next level right away.
Absolutely.
Coach, real quick, we were just talking about KW. Now, KW had no problems with South, and that's, not taking anything away from the win, Casper Kelly Walsh, and you never turn your back on anybody. I know if I'm the KW defensive coordinator, I'm having sleepless nights, but, they put up 54 on Cheyenne South, so they can toe the rock as well. They can put it through, through the uprights.
They can, and when you see them on film, what you definitely see is you see a second year under a head coach. I mean, they're much cleaner than maybe even when we saw them last year, because you get those 3 weeks, and then after that, for all of us, we're just kind of dealing, and we slowly make progress throughout the year. But you need that time away from the game stuff to really develop, and that's what you see is now they've got kids that understand their system, and it's just that much easier to coach. And you did shows on film, and they've got some good athletes, and their system really makes you be honest, sort of thing. And we that's going to be our big focus this week. Especially on the defense side of the ball, we got to be really fundamentally sound because they're a group that if you have one mess up and on an assignment, they'll take it to the house. So it'll be a good challenge for us without a doubt.
Coach, I want to go back to this Friday just really quickly, and as COVID-19 is still a relevant thing here in the world, where we've talked about what practice looks like, what schooling and weightlifting is looking like for your Central High Indians for game time, or at least a road trip up to Casper Natrona and getting into that locker room, and then post game. Any noticeable changes or differences that you saw as your team prepared for their contest this Friday night, or was it just same as normal, but just everyone was just wearing a mask, at least out on that field?
Yeah, these last 3 weeks, especially, and maybe even the summer of getting used to the mask and the distancing, it was different, but we were used to it, so it didn't affect us. But I'll tell you what was special is that we talked about to the kids that, there were no COVID. Once the whistle blew and the white lines created a boundary, that's what was unique, is that it was just football at that point, and that's what really made it fun, I think. And probably for the first time all year, you didn't think about COVID. You didn't think about the ramifications it's had on the country, much less your football program and that. I mean, it was just why we all coach sports and kids play sports is it's a way to just take yourself away from the stuff outside and just do it. And that may have been the most special thing of the entire night.
We'll come back to Friday night because there's a couple of things I wanted to add. But real quick, first day of school today, Coach. How did things go for the first day of school?
Not bad. Again, I think it's so different than the spring. The spring we were all just kind of, just trying to figure out how to get to the next moment where, the plan is in place and, there was, I'm sure, hiccups, here and there, but kids are resilient. We talked to our football players about, being leaders in the school and they've had to spend so much time with masks and being told to put your mask on that, be examples. And so I think overall the day went pretty well considering, how, different it was. But I think just like football is that each and every day, I think it's just going to get easier and easier in the building as well.
Now going back to Friday's game, I want to touch upon what Nick mentioned as well. Relatively, and I was shocked for a week 0 contest, relatively clean game by both teams. Yeah, there was a handful of penalties, but not the jumping off sides, the encroachments. Usually you got about 10 or 15 of those. Relatively clean by both teams.
Yeah, and I agree. I think outside of the turnover debacle there for both teams, midway through the second and that sort of thing, I thought that both teams played clean. And, on the flip side, we had a couple of costly penalties that, the ones we generally concern ourselves with are the 5 and 15 yarders because we feel like, those are controllable penalties. And, we did have, kind of a holding call that kind of put us back for the first time. But, definitely those 5 and 15s were limited, and that's definitely a good start.
Final thought for me: Did week 0 turn out pretty much the way you thought? Rock beating Gillette, Thunder and East. You could have flipped the coin on that one. Sheridan was going to have no problems with Laramie. Kelly, I felt Kelly was going to have no problems with Cheyenne South. Did everything pretty much go according to the Hoyle, in your opinion?
I guess, if you really sit back, the East Thunder Basin game was probably a push based off two really quality opponents over the last years. You kind of don't know, maybe being from Cheyenne, we have a little bit more idea of what, East brings back, whereas Thunder, we definitely knew they lost some key things, but, you don't know what they brought back. So, yeah, it's a tough place to go on the road for sure. And, Rock Springs seems to be trending in the right direction as well. But it looks like that Campbell put them, at least made it competitive, so they're heading the right direction. And, with the Sheridan Laramie thing, that one was just an interesting one because obviously you've heard so much about the Laramie transfers, and and that's tough to make an impact that early. I have a feeling they're going to get better and better each week as those, some of those kids get used to a system similar to what, we dealt with our quarterback. So, it probably played out, maybe like the rankings tell you they do, and we're just glad that we were on the other side because, that could have been different real fast.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you again. Really good job by your Indians this past Friday night, and you get a chance to be home at Risky against Casper Kelly Walsh. So another barn burner possibly in the making coming up this Friday evening.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't. It's not as scary as last time, so hopefully we'll finish this time. But I really appreciate you guys coming out there and supporting our kids.
All right. Take care, Coach. Thank you again. Cheyenne Central head coach Mike Apodaca joining us here on 1480 KRAE. And Nick, again, things that we spoke about pretty much he echoed, on the ball games. Again, he saw it better on the sidelines, but I like the one comment that he made. And you mentioned that during the broadcast, well, there was a possibility of going to the bullpen. He never gave that a second thought. And he made a very good point. Andrew Cummins, who's 3 weeks here in Cheyenne, moving here from Colorado, really his first full week last week of practice prior to the game of taking the bulk of the snaps. Yeah. And with butterflies, absolutely. And again, let's be real honest. You got a talented group on that offensive side, veterans. They've all been through those wars. And again, anchored by Jeremy Koenig right there in the middle.
I alluded to it during the contest where we knew what Andrew's, at least, situation was with Cheyenne Central, where he was new to the system and he was adjusting to it. And I think I made that point during the contest saying, hey, this is a guy that's adjusting, trying to learn the plays. And I even talking about it today where maybe he misread a play. Maybe on some of those INTs.
Or misread a coverage,
yeah, coverage. Or, again, hey, this receiver was supposed to cut here. I thought he cut here instead. Again, who knows? But either way, though, again, they're early mistakes in week 0. The only issue, or at least the only point in time where you would start to wonder, or at least probably push that fire a little bit, or at least get a little hotter for Cheyenne Central and one Cummins, is when you get later in the season. If he's still making those issues, all right, then we bring up, all right, is it time to go to that bullpen? Is it a consistent thing throughout the season with him? And I don't foresee it, but it is to be determined. And again, it's still well early into 2020. We'll see what happens coming up this Friday at Risky Field against Cheyenne Central taking on Kelly Walsh. That game's a 6 o'clock start time over there at Risky Field.
Well, and I think too, and you said it without even saying it. Cummins is he should be not the work in progress, but each week get better as he sees, again.
This is a team that's playoff bound.
You're going to watch a lot of film.
This is an Indians team where they're playoff bound. It'll be to be determined on where they are seeding-wise. I think they will be that first-round hosting team, or at least I would anticipate that.
I agree.
It's more so of, yes, let Cummins build throughout the season, but where it matters – and hell, we'll talk about, or at least we'll kind of refer to one Jason Ficco, a former LCCC men's head coach, where it doesn't matter what's happening now, it's what's happening at the end of the season. Absolutely. Or at least tell in, once you get into the playoffs, how hot are you? And again, do you have all those pieces firing on all cylinders? I think that's where Central is going to be the most dangerous, and that's where I still give Central that nod that the Indians have a very, very good shot. Mm-hmm. After seeing them one game, what they did this past week and how they came from behind on the road against a very stoic program being Natrona County, that this team, if they figure out every single piece, they get it as a well-oiled machine, that the Central Iowa Indians have a good shot of being state champs.
Well, and every week he gets tested. Again, KW will be the next test. You got to go to Sheridan in week 2.
Yeah.
And then you come home for Thunder Basin. So, you look at your first 4 games, you got both Casper schools, Sheridan and Thunder Basin. And again, you're into your 3rd, 4th week now of football at Cheyenne Central. Interesting. All right, let's real quick here. We're going to wrap things up as we're getting close to it. Believe it or not, Major League Baseball is getting into its final month, beginning tomorrow.
Trade deadline, or at least trading.
Yeah,
happening.
I mean, look at the deals that they've had going on here today. And you know who's been the biggest, I guess, purchaser or trader? Are the Padres. Padres picked up Mike Clevenger from Cleveland.
Again, they're trying to get over that Los Angeles Dodgers, or at least they're trying to get to that guaranteed NL West spot. Padres, as much as I do believe they'll be a wild card team, they'll be a playoff-bound team, I think. But it looks like the Padres' eyes are, we want to win the West title. We want to get that crown. We want to avoid that play-in game, play-in series, whatever it's going to be like. They just want to have that guaranteed, hey, we're in the playoffs. We don't have to fight, and we're going to see who at least takes us on. So that no surprise by the Padres, who, again, were the team. Where the Padres are is what experts and people were anticipating, that they were going to be behind the Dodgers, but they're going to be a good outfit. Will these pieces elevate them past Los Angeles? It very well could. Los Angeles, that proves that they can be, I'm not going to say inconsistent, but they can have their downfalls. We've seen them lose a couple series, or at least a couple games to the Giants. They've lost a couple games to other West opponents. We'll see about the San Diego.
Well, and again, looking at the Rockies.
They're a playoff-bound team. Right. Will they win that NL West?
Well, the Dodgers did nothing.
Will these pieces do it for them to make it over? I don't see it.
But the Dodgers usually get that rental player. They didn't do anything. Rockies added an arm out of Baltimore, right-handed reliever.
Well, they also picked up Kevin Pillar.
And Michael Givens, who had a 1.38 ERA.
Rockies who are not out of it, and they have a big series.
And
with
Pillar,
the Padres.
I think, is going to add some depth for them.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was that bad in San Francisco.
He wasn't really all that good, or what he was anticipated to do for the Giants.
No, but he as a fielder, he was pretty doggone good.
Is Pillar that piece that puts Rockies above the Padres?
No, they're not going to get anywhere.
But Rockies still have that bullpen issue where that's the Achilles heel, and it's been for the past couple of years. Rockies will find a way to exit themselves out of the playoffs. At least playoff hunt.
I don't even think the Rockies are going to even get in there. They got beaten up by the Padres.
They'll sniff it, but I don't think they're a wild card team.
I'm just trying to think of just about every team was involved in some type of trade today, but the A's. They acquired left-hander Mike Minor from the Texas Rangers for 2 players to be named late.
And these trades kind of came out, or at least this trade deadline kind of came out of nowhere. It felt like
it still feels like it snuck up on us.
Still feels like it's preseason for Major League Baseball, but maybe that's just me.
So
it feels like these games just don't matter. I don't know.
Well, you know what? And real quick, while we have a chance, we haven't even done this in a long, long time. Just take a quick look at the standings before we wrap things up in the East. Tampa, 3.5 games ahead of the Yankees.
No surprise.
Tampa with 35 games in the books. Yankees got 32 games in the books. Blue Jays, 18 and 15. So they're kind of in the
Will
hunt.
they vault over the Yankees or the Rays?
No. But the Central Division, as I mentioned in our scoreboard earlier, Cleveland, the White Sox, a virtual tie, 21-13, and the Twins a game and a half back at 20-15. So. Yeah, that's a very competitive.
And I told you
division.
to watch out for that White Sox team.
Yes, you did. And I snubbed you, and I apologize. Houston.
Yeah, the West. Even though the West is now interesting due to the fact that you now have a pause for Houston and Oakland
because of the somebody tested positive.
And it wasn't
the
players.
A's.
It
was staff, wasn't it?
It was staff. Yeah, traveling staff with the A's. But the indications were also someone on the Astros also tested positive.
So the A's right now are 22-12. And the Astros are 2.5 back at 19-14. Mariners, Rangers, and the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah, the Angels very surprising out of the West, where everyone was anticipating that they'd be somewhat competitive.
They'd be improved, yeah.
Yeah.
NL East, still a good fight. The Braves hold on to a 2.5 game lead over the Miami Marlins, who have fallen on hard times,
I told you that. I think Miami eventually was going to fall down to grace, and here it comes. Where, Braves, I think, take care of business out there.
Can you believe the Marlins are only 1-8 at home? They're 14-7 on the road. Phillies,
and they should be used to playing at home with no fans.
Yeah, Phillies, they're 14-15. The Mets, 15-20. Nah. Cubs in the Central, 20-14.
No surprise there.
They are 3.5 ahead of the Cardinals at 12-13. Brewers are 15-18. I don't see either one of those two teams fighting. And then you look into the West. Dodgers pretty much got everything under control, 26-10. Padres got healthy playing the Rocks. They're 21-15. They're 5 out. Rockies 17-17. I don't know.
You look at the standings. No real change compared to last year. The only difference is White Sox up top, and then also too with the San Diego Padres.
White Sox much improved, and the Padres youth.
Yeah.
Except for Machado. Well, and Manny's still relatively young, but I mean the Padres went young. And it's starting to pay off.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we'll see what it leads to this season. Yes, they'll be playoff bound. How far they will go to be determined. I think they're not going to go that far, but we'll see. I don't think they have enough. It's pretty much LA's destiny to make it represent the NL in the World Series.
And really, the Rays.
And I don't see any team. San Diego might put up a good fight due to the fact that they're seeing each other so many times. They know each other very well. That San Diego could, if you got that matchup, could give them a good effort. But Cubs, could the Cubs take care of a series against the LA Dodgers? I don't see it. Atlanta Braves, I don't think so. I don't think they could eat.
Really, the NL's the Dodgers to lose.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you look over here, and again,
the American League is pretty much wide open. And again, you could even toss in some of those Central teams.
All three of those Central teams in there, along with Tampa and Oakland. But the Rays are built similar to the Padres. I mean, if you look at it with the departure of Joe Madden, I mean, this is a young team.
Yeah.
And they have, kind of distanced themselves from the Yankees. The White Sox made some moves. Again, they built the farm up. They are a pretty competitive outfit. I'm just surprised Cleveland trades Clevenger. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Obviously, it was something that they saw that, hey, we don't need you, or either they got good pieces in return or developmental. Who knows?
I mean, when you're trading an arm and you're in the pennant hunt, basically. I mean, I'm scratching my head at the organization.
Tells me that they're confident of what the pieces that they have right now.
And then the A's, Billy Beane again making one little move to get another arm, and with the A's, and it goes back even to Moneyball, you got to get past the wild card. You got to get past that first round. To be, noticed.
Well, right now they're past the wild card, or at least they're on pace to win the AL West.
You win the AL, but I'll tell you what, right now if you look at teams that they would have to face,
A's can be competitive with any team.
They would probably get the White Sox,
but they could easily compete with the Rays. They can easily compete with the Yankees, White Sox, Cleveland. Hell, they've even been competitive with the Houston Astros. There is no clear-cut winner in the American League like the LA Dodgers.
No, the American League is wide open. You're absolutely right. All right, we do need to get to a break, and then we're going to wrap things up here on our program. Don't forget, while I have it here in my hands, Nick, this weekend, South will be at home. They'll host the Sheridan Bronx. East, that is our feature game. We get Natrona again, the Mustangs and the Thunderbirds, and that'll be a 7 o'clock game. You said that's the only 7 o'clock game we got on the schedule this week. And Central at Risky Field will play host to Casper Kelly Walsh. So, again, with all of the home dates, you may want to call your individual schools because there are a lot of football fans in this town, and I'm not sure it's parents first, right?
My understanding is it's just family only at this point.
Well,
it's family only. That again, where we talked with Mark Boev last week, it was home team family members get X amount of tickets, then away traveling family members get at least a less amount, but amount to
about
at least
a tenth of it, probably.
Yeah. So it's not open to general public.
Call your individual schools to find out if things get a little more relaxed this weekend.
Or
I don't know.
if you want to watch
Yeah,
Chinese.
That's what I'm saying. Throw that out now.
All right, because again, you can. But again,
No, I
if
can't.
you want to watch the contest coming up this Friday between Chinese and Trona County, again, if you're one of those that can't make it out to Okie Blanchard for the multitude of reasons, again, we will have it video live stream for free completely on Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wild Sports and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel.
And also, too, you can since we archive our game, you can watch last week's Central and the Toronto Mustangs game. Matter of fact, I know on Saturday when we got in late, but first thing I flipped on was about that last 3 minutes of the ball game, especially the Johnson catch, the Talich pick for the touchdown. I'll tell you what, you want to talk about an exciting part of the game right there. Those were two of many during that contest.
And you might as well wrap up now, as we'll just get that break at the tail end.
Okay, well, let's real quick here remind everybody it is the Golden Age of Radio Theater with Gunsmoke times 2, 8 until 9, and the Railroad Hour from 9 until 10. 2 programs for you as well. So again, classic radio shows for you coming up between 8 and 10. Golden Age of Radio Theater. It is time now for On This Date in History, and let's see what the Nixter has.
August 31st, we'll go about the year 1990, where this historic first happened for these two players in Major League Baseball.
1990.
August 31st, historic first for these two players.
30 years ago.
Who played on the same team.
Would that be the Griffeys both playing together in Seattle?
Go. Yeah, there you go. August 31st, 1990 was a day where baseball outfielders Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. become the first father and son, at least duo, to play on the same team, that being the Seattle Mariners. The pair hit back-to-back singles in the first inning and both scored as well.